Together with the panel of all-star investors, let's pass it back to Scott Wapner so he can guide us through potential market futures. Scott, okay. Thank you very much, Carl. Josh, Adam, Courtney, and Tom Lee are back, and we discussed the background for this record-breaking rally earlier, Tom. We kept it general. Let's now discuss placement, namely where our audience wants to consider investing regardless of the outcome. Without mentioning tech, the year's top trade, how can we discuss that? It goes without saying that you have been a strong supporter of the Mag 7. What do you think now? Tech, in my opinion, will continue to grow through the end of the year. But now that the election is over, investors will likely be searching for new sectors to gamble on as the market's scope expands. And I believe that, where would animal spirits come back will be one of their starting points. You know, areas with low multiples or those that might profit from mergers. As a result, I see PE growing, which will lead to small caps, financials, and essentially the rest of the market. In fact, Courtney Wolf Research will be discussing tonight how financials might be a major election winner. I am also referring to the regional banks. Do you think that is a place to watch if former President Trump is elected president again tonight? Indeed, regional banks in particular are being discussed a lot at the moment because, as you can see, this administration hasn't rejected a lot of M&A. There is seldom any M&A activity because these are so difficult to complete. However, that is anticipated to increase under a Trump government. So if Trump were to be elected, you should definitely check into that as it is likely to begin to gain traction here. Regarding the tech concept, Adam, I would like to share with you a piece written by Dan Ives, a Wedbush analyst who is obviously well known to all of our viewers, about the potential for a Trump victory and the implications for that industry. We believe a significant impact on the supply chain would result from a major change in tariffs and a harsher stance on China, he says. The pace of the AI revolution will undoubtedly be slowed by Nvidia and Beijing's retaliatory actions against Apple and Tesla. Perhaps he has a point. Look, regardless of the outcome, I believe that investors are positioned in 5 or 6 growth themes. Among them are AI semis. You might have a point if he's referring to a temporary interruption in supplies. However, I believe that you should own a computer and all related equipment if you're investing money. You wish to possess software related to that. There are a lot of topics present, including electrification, industry, housing. If you don't think the Russell will work, you can't say that regional banks will rally. In essence, that transaction is equivalent. After hours, Tesla was up 7%. If the outcome favors Trump, those are likely the things that will last. We must resume our discussions about antitrust and platform dismantling if it moves toward Harris. And that will take another year. How about semis? As we previously said, Nvidia is displacing Apple at the top of the market capitalization hierarchy. It has undoubtedly had an amazing run, but not all of the stocks in this market are Nvidia. How do you evaluate this? This is the one location where I firmly believe you have witnessed leadership truly fracturing or splitting, and this has been the case throughout the spring, summer, and fall. We are aware of the Nvidia chart's excellence. We are aware of Broadcom's excellence. AIM-AT is where? Lam Research is where? Where is ASML? Where does Samsung stand in terms of perceived leadership, you know? It is, in my opinion, the fastest of those. Underneath, it is the weakest. In reality, only a quarter of semis are above their 200-day moving average. With semis over the next 4 to 6 weeks, you have some excellent seasonality here. If you had a bounce, I believe I would be more likely to fade it in the semifinals than to chase it. I questioned you about Berkshire selling Apple before, so now I'll ask you about Nvidia's current status and its participation in the Dow, as well as your thoughts on it in light of your observations over the years. Indeed, it is evident that on some level, the Dow felt somewhat out of step with the current state of the economy due to the prior inclusion of Intel and the lack of a play on Nvidia, which accounts for 7% of the S&P 500. One could argue that it is simply clinging to a high momentum play after its biggest gains have already occurred. I was just examining the current market capitalization comparison between Nvidia and Apple. You might claim that Nvidia's stock is more costly, but it's expanding far faster. The company will have roughly a third of the sales in the upcoming year and nearly half of the net income. First of all, just because a stock is listed on the Dow does not provide you a fresh incentive to purchase it in the near future. According to history, there is absolutely no reason to purchase. The amount of money indexed to the Dow is quite little. It's more about confirming its existing position in the new tech economy, which we already knew about in a way. Again, I don't think it's a sell the news. Rather, given Intel's surrender, it might be a buy. However, it now appears to be more about the Dow's efforts to remain relevant. Okay, nice stuff. Following numerous reports from well-known companies, the Nasdaq just finished its worst week since September. Seema Modi has been keeping tabs on some of that activity. Hello, Seema. Carl, semiconductors in particular are attempting to recover from last week's loss of more than $360 billion in market capitalization. The largest laggard, Nvidia, is improving today as we wait for it to be added to the Dow this Friday. Nvidia has also requested that South Korean memory chip manufacturer SK Hynix accelerate the development of its next-generation memory product. It is regarded as an additional piece of evidence confirming the high demand for Nvidia's GPUs. This comes as an increasing number of analysts express concern about the election's wider effects on the semiconductor industry. Nvidia and other companies like Texas Instruments and Qualcomm, who released their earnings this week, will suffer long-term consequences if Vice President Harris wins, according to BofE's calculation of the impact of a higher tax rate. According to BofE, the largest possible obstacle is the possibility of tariffs under former President Trump, which would put the industry under pressure and raise prices for memory and equipment players. For comparison, the chip industry beat the S&P by an average of 51% when a Democrat was in power and 38% when a Republican was. The two major earnings reports from NXPI and LC Semiconductor are released tonight, and tomorrow Supermicro will provide a significant business update. Josh, final trades, remaining with Uber. All right, Bren? Uber is also mine. The market consistently makes mistakes. All right, Jim the farmer? Nvidia is the easy button to press. Laugh, I'm at a loss for words. Meta, permit the platform to remain.